The old St. Aurelia's boarding school sat in the woods like a rotting memory. Every window was blind with dust. Every hallway collapsed in silence. Yet when Anna pointed at it from the dirt trail, her eyes shone with the reckless thrill of someone chasing ghosts. "Come on," she said, brushing her red hair out of her face. "One picture, and we'll finally prove the stories are garbage." Riley hesitated at the gate. The iron bars were cold even in daylight. Her camera bag swung against her hip, heavy and comforting, something normal in a place that wasn't. "Anna, the town calls it cursed for a reason. People say a whole class vanished here." "Urban legend," Anna replied with a grin. "Besides, we're not staying. Just a few shots, and we're out." The gate groaned as she pushed it. It felt like the world exhaled dust. Inside, the air was different, thicker, colder. The sky dimmed as if clouds had crept in just to watch them. Birds stopped singing. The old building loomed ahead, its cracked facade lined with ivy like veins on a corpse. Riley followed reluctantly. She always did. Anna was the bold one, the dreamer who loved the thrill of forbidden places. Riley was the one who made sure they got home. They stepped through the broken entrance doors. Their sneakers crunched over glass and dirt. Lockers lined the hall, half-rusted, doors hanging open like gaping mouths. A faint smell of mold and old paper filled the air. Riley lifted her camera. Click. The flash burst briefly, illuminating a row of decayed portraits. Teachers, maybe. Their names unreadable. In that split second of light, she thought one of the faces smiled differently than before. She blinked. The hallway was still. Anna's voice echoed. "Creepy, right?" They moved deeper. Faded student artwork clung to the walls, paper skeletons and watercolor suns. The building seemed to breathe faintly, settling as though disturbed by their presence. At the end of the hall, a door stood ajar with a brass plaque that read, "Headmistress's office." Anna's grin widened. "Bet there's something cool in there." "Or rats," Riley muttered, but followed anyway. Inside, the office was frozen in time, papers scattered, a toppled chair, a broken teacup crusted with dust. The smell of decay was stronger here, mixed with something sharp and metallic. A large wooden desk sat in the center. Behind it, a door small, almost hidden in shadow. "Secret room," Anna whispered, spotting the faint outline. Riley frowned. "Could be a storage closet." Anna crouched, brushing her fingers along the wall. A latch clicked. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow passage descending into darkness. Every instinct screamed no. "Anna, let's go. This is enough." But Anna was already stepping down, her phone flashlight cutting through the black. 5 minutes. Promise. Riley swallowed hard and followed. The steps groaned underfoot, each one colder than the last. The air smelled of wet stone and rust. When they reached the bottom, they found a narrow corridor lined with concrete walls and old pipes. Why would a school have this? Riley whispered. Anna's light swept over faded writing on the wall. "Silence is obedience." She laughed uneasily. Weird motto. At the end of the corridor stood a metal door. Heavy, bolted from the outside. Riley's pulse quickened. Wait, why would the bolts be on this side? Anna stared at the door. Her light flickered, once, twice, then went out. Darkness swallowed them. Riley froze. She could hear only the sound of their breathing and the drip of unseen water. Then tap. Something metallic tapped on the door from the other side. Tap, tap, tap. Anna whispered. "Did you hear that?" Before Riley could answer, the door rattled. Just once, but violently, like something slamming against it. They both screamed. Anna fumbled for her phone. The light flared back on, shaking in her hands. The door was still. Silent again. "Let's go," Riley said, backing away. "I mean it. Now." Anna nodded. They turned toward the stairs, but the way back was gone. The steps were no longer there, just a blank concrete wall where the passage had been. Riley's breath caught. No, 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 this isn't possible. Anna pounded the wall. It was solid. The air grew colder. Their lights flickered again. The wall seemed to hum, a low vibration like a voice too deep to hear. Then, faintly, from the other side of the metal door, came a whisper. "Don't leave me alone again." Riley's stomach turned. Anna, it sounded like a girl. Anna stepped closer, her light trembling. Hello? Is someone there? Silence. Then tap, tap, tap. The sound moved, traveling along the wall, circling them slowly. Riley clutched her camera like a weapon. This isn't funny. Anna's voice broke. It's not me. The floor shuddered. Dust rained from the ceiling. A line of cold air sliced through the room as the door's bolts began to unscrew themselves, one by one, with a slow metallic whine. Anna grabbed Riley's arm. Run! But there was nowhere to run. The final bolt dropped. The door creaked open an inch, exhaling a stale, freezing breath. Beyond it, darkness waited, thick and breathing. Something stepped forward, and in the glow of their flickering light, they saw small bare feet. The figure that emerged looked like a schoolgirl, pale, smiling, her uniform perfectly preserved, though her eyes were black and hollow. Welcome back, she whispered. Anna dropped the light. The darkness closed in. The flashlight clattered against the concrete, rolling until its beam pointed upward, slicing a pale line across the girl's face. She stood still, too still. Her smile didn't move, even when she blinked, slow, mechanical, like a puppet remembering how to imitate life. Anna, Riley whispered, barely able to breathe. She's not real. Anna swallowed. Then why can I hear her breathing? The sound was faint but undeniable, the slow rise and fall of air that had no warmth, no rhythm, no heartbeat behind it. Then the girl tilted her head. You came back, she said softly. Her voice wasn't one. It was many. A faint chorus, whispering through the cracks in the walls. Anna stumbled back, dragging Riley with her. The metal door behind the figure slammed shut with a bang, so loud it shook dust from the ceiling. Run! Anna screamed. They sprinted down the corridor, flashlight bouncing wildly off the walls. Their shadows stretched and twisted like living things. The hallway seemed longer now, stretching impossibly far. Riley's lungs burned. Her camera bag thudded against her hip, and with each step she swore she heard another set of footsteps following just a fraction behind. Light, deliberate, childlike. They burst into a larger chamber, a forgotten storage area filled with old desks and filing cabinets. The air reeked of mildew and iron. Anna slammed the door and pressed her ear against it. Nothing. Just silence. Riley crouched, catching her breath. What the hell was that? Anna shook her head. A projection? A trick? Maybe there's gas down here messing with our heads. But Riley wasn't convinced. The steps, the whisper, that wasn't in my head. Her hands trembled as she pulled out her camera. If she was real, maybe, she froze. The digital screen flickered, static crawling across it. Then an image formed, not of the room, but of a classroom. Perfect rows of desks. Children sitting silently. And at the front of the class, the same girl they had just seen. Riley dropped the camera. Anna, she whispered. She's been here before. All of them have. A faint scraping began behind the filing cabinets. Metal on concrete. Slow. Deliberate. Anna turned her light toward it. A hand, small, pale, and wrong, slid out from the gap between two cabinets. Its fingers bent backwards, pulling at the air. Riley screamed. Anna grabbed a chair and swung it, knocking over the cabinet. Nothing behind it, just a hole in the wall. And from that hole came the faint echo of children giggling. Anna backed away. We need to get out. Now. They turned toward the other end of the chamber, where a half-collapsed stairwell led upward. Hope flared, but as they neared it, the faint giggles turned into whispers. They didn't listen. They made us quiet. Silence is obedience. The same phrase from the wall. Anna looked up. Faint markings stretched across the ceiling. Nails, scratches, symbols carved in desperation. Some still had dried blood trapped in their grooves. Riley's voice shook. Anna, this wasn't a school. Anna nodded slowly. It was something else. Something they covered up. The air grew colder. Breath fogged. Then, from behind them, came a slow, dragging sound. The flashlight dimmed. The sound grew louder. Something moving, scraping, like fingernails across tile. Anna whispered, "Don't look." But Riley did. The little girl was there again, closer now. her face half hidden in the flicker of the dying light. Her black eyes reflected something deep and infinite. She smiled wider, and her skin cracked like porcelain splitting. "Please," she whispered, "help us get out." The words echoed around them, and behind her, dozens of small faces appeared in the darkness. Children, all dressed in faded uniforms, their mouths sewn shut with black thread. Riley screamed. The flashlight burst in a surge of white light, then died completely. Total darkness. Something cold brushed her neck. A child's hand. Anna grabbed Riley's wrist and pulled her toward the stairwell. They climbed in panic, scraping knees and hands against broken stone. The whispers chased them upward. When they reached the top, a heavy door blocked their way. Anna rammed her shoulder against it once, twice. It didn't move. Then, faintly, a new sound came. A slow series of clicks, like locks turning on the other side. The door opened. Light spilled in, not warm daylight, but a sterile, flickering glow. They stumbled through, slamming it shut behind them. The room they entered wasn't part of any school. Stainless steel walls, tables with straps, old medical instruments rusted and crusted with dark stains. A laboratory. Riley's voice was barely a whisper. "Anna, what did they do here?" Anna's flashlight flickered again, revealing faded writing across the far wall. "Project Obedience, Phase 4. Subject age 8 to 13. The air hummed. Machines long dead began to blink weakly to life. Screens flickered on, showing static-filled images of children crying. Anna covered her mouth. A single speaker crackled to life above them. A woman's voice echoed through the room, distorted but calm. "Welcome back to St. Aurelia's obedience program. Test resuming." The door behind them slammed. Locks engaged. Riley screamed, pounding at the metal. "No, we're not part of this." But the lights dimmed, and from the darkness came the sound of small, synchronized footsteps approaching again. Anna turned in horror. "They're coming." Then, through the static and whispers, the same girl's voice returned, closer now, soft and clear. "Now it's your turn to be quiet." The lights went out. The emergency lights buzzed weakly, painting the lab in pulses of red and shadow. Each flicker revealed more horror, shattered test tubes, rusted restraints, and something that looked disturbingly like a child's handprint burned into the metal walls. Anna and Riley stood frozen. For a moment, there was only the hum of failing electricity and the distant, rhythmic tap of small footsteps echoing through the corridors beyond. Riley whispered, "This isn't just a school, this is where they made something." Anna's jaw tightened. "No, this is where they broke something." The intercom hissed again. Experiment 4A resumed. Observation commencing. The voice was calm, too calm. Anna turned her light toward the nearest table. A clipboard lay rusted beside it, its paper yellowed with age. The top line read, "Subject number 12. Response to isolation. Loss of speech after 14 days. Below it, written in a shaking hand, "Sutures applied. No further noise." Riley covered her mouth. They sewed them shut. The air temperature dropped sharply. Frost began to creep across the metal instruments. Anna felt it first, a pressure in her chest, like being watched from inside her own heartbeat. Then came the whisper. Not through the intercom this time. From inside the room. "Anna." The voice was a child's, but it wasn't pleading this time. It was accusing. Riley spun toward the sound. The door they'd come through was gone, sealed by smooth, seamless steel. "Anna," the voice said again, closer. "Why did you leave us?" Anna froze. No. A memory slammed into her. Flashes of white corridors, bright lights, her younger self screaming as a woman in a lab coat restrained her. Patient displays strong resistance to conditioning, someone had said. Then darkness. Anna fell to her knees, clutching her head. Riley grabbed her shoulders. "What do you mean, leave them? What are you remembering?" Anna's breath hitched. "I was here. Not as a student. As a subject." Riley blinked, horrified. The lights flickered again, and the walls shifted, no longer sterile metal, but lined with rows of glass panels. Behind them, shadows moved, small shapes pressing pale hands against the glass, their mouths sealed with black thread. "Anna," Riley whispered, backing away. They're alive. No, Anna said hoarsely. They're stuck. One of the figures slammed its hand against the glass, and a crack spidered outward. Then another, and another. A deafening crack as the first glass cell shattered, black, cold mist pouring out like smoke. From it crawled one of the children, moving in jerks, eyes glowing faintly white. Riley screamed, grabbing a metal rod from the floor. Stay back. The child's head twitched, mouth trembling against the thread binding it. It raised a shaking hand, not to attack, but to point. At Anna. You did this, the child whispered. The others began to stir, pressing against the glass, whispering the same words in unison. You did this. You did this. You did this. Anna stumbled backward. I didn't want to. They made me watch, made me help. Riley looked at her, horrified. Help what? Anna's voice broke. I was the control subject, the one they didn't break. They used me to measure how long before the others stopped fighting. The whispers grew louder, angrier. Anna, Riley said, gripping her wrist. We have to destroy this place. Burn it. Erase it. But before Anna could answer, the intercom clicked again. Subject 01 has returned to testing area. Commencing final obedience evaluation. Every light in the room went red. The children's movements froze. Slowly, mechanically, they turned toward the far wall. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall, in a faded white coat. The woman's face was half gone, skin torn and gray, but her voice was unmistakable. Welcome back, Anna. Anna's knees went weak. Dr. Holloway. The woman smiled, an awful, cracked expression. You were my best result, the only one who remembered. Riley raised the metal rod, trembling. What did you do to them? Silence them, Holloway said simply. Children are chaos. We sought peace. Obedience. Quiet minds make a quiet world. Anna stepped forward, voice shaking with rage. You killed them. Correction, Holloway replied calmly. We purified them. The air grew dense. The whispering children began to rise, floating now, their mouths unthreading one by one, releasing a low, humming cry that vibrated through the room. Riley's flashlight exploded in a burst of white light. Anna screamed, No more silence, and hurled a metal chair at the nearest console. Sparks flew as the screen shattered. The humming grew louder, almost joyful. The children's eyes blazed white, and the mist thickened, swirling violently. Dr. Holloway's smile faded. Stop. You'll unbind them. That's the point, Anna shouted. Let them speak. Riley swung the metal rod at another terminal. The lab lights flared. Then all at once, every sealed chamber burst open. The air filled with voices, hundreds of them, crying, laughing, whispering in chaos. The walls shook. The metal ceiling buckled. Dr. Holloway screamed, her body warping, tearing apart into mist as the voices consumed her. Anna grabbed Riley's hand. We have to go now. They ran through the collapsing corridor, the voices chasing behind, some crying for help, others whispering thanks. They reached the final stairwell, leading toward a faint square of light above. Riley gasped. Do you think they'll stop? Anna looked back once, tears streaking her face. No, but maybe now they're free. They climbed toward the light as the building groaned and crumbled behind them. When they burst through the final hatch, night air hit their faces like salvation. The old school lay in ruins below, smoke and whispers rising from its depths. Riley fell to her knees, sobbing. It's over. But Anna didn't answer. She stood still, listening. Somewhere in the dark wind, a faint voice whispered her name again. Soft, grateful. Thank you. And then silence. Dawn came quietly. The forest surrounding St. Aurelia's School for Gifted Youths glowed pale with morning fog, the ruins below still smoldering faintly. The world looked peaceful again, as if it had never known the horrors buried beneath. Anna sat beside the old stone gate, her hands blackened with soot. Riley lay next to her, wrapped in a tattered blanket they'd scavenged from a nearby car wreck. Neither had spoken in hours. Only the wind moved, whispering through the pine needles like a soft, uncertain prayer. Riley finally broke the silence. You think anyone will believe us? Anna gave a small, broken laugh. You think we'd survive if they did? Riley looked away, eyes hollow. They'll come looking. Places like that don't just disappear. Anna's eyes were fixed on the rising smoke. Maybe that's what it wanted. Riley frowned. What wanted? Anna didn't answer right away. Her thoughts were a storm of images, the sealed rooms, the children's stitched faces, Dr. Holloway's hollow voice. And through it all, the memory of one child's whisper. Thank you. Riley noticed Anna's hand trembling. Hey, she said softly. You did the right thing. Did I? Anna's voice cracked. I let them out, Riley. I don't even know what they are now. The forest stirred, a faint echo, like a sigh passing through the branches. Riley tried to smile. They're gone. That place collapsed. Whatever was down there is buried for good. Anna wanted to believe that, but she couldn't. Later, as the sun climbed higher, they began walking toward the nearest road. Anna's clothes were torn, her shoes caked with mud, but she barely noticed. Every step felt heavier, as though the ground itself wanted to pull her back. When they reached the edge of the woods, they found a small diner, old, dusty, with a flickering neon sign that read, Open 24 hours. Riley pushed open the door. The bell above it jingled softly. Inside, the world felt almost normal. Coffee hissed on the pot. A tired waitress refilled sugar jars, and a radio hummed faintly in the background. Riley exhaled shakily. God, I could cry. Anna slid into a booth near the window. Go ahead. You earned it. They ordered coffee, black, bitter, too hot to drink. But neither cared. For a while, they just sat there, staring at nothing, their reflection faint in the glass. Then Riley whispered, Do you ever wonder why we found that room in the first place? Anna looked up. What do you mean? Riley traced her finger on the table. We weren't supposed to be there. We got lost on a hiking trail that doesn't exist on any map. That school wasn't on GPS. What if we were led there? Anna's cup trembled in her hand. By who? Riley met her eyes. By them. A chill rippled through the room. The radio cut out for half a second, replaced by faint static, and in that static, a whisper. Anna. The waitress glanced up. You girls all right? Anna forced a smile. Yeah, just tired. But she couldn't stop staring at the radio. That night, they checked into a cheap motel. Riley fell asleep quickly, exhaustion winning over fear. Anna lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her body ached, but it was the silence that hurt most. Too perfect, too empty. She turned over and froze. In the reflection of the dark TV screen, she saw movement behind her, faint, like a shadow sliding across the wall. She sat up. Nothing there. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Then came a soft, rhythmic tapping. From the bathroom. Tap, tap, tap. Anna's throat tightened. She stood, moving slowly, bare feet whispering against the carpet. The bathroom door was slightly ajar, the light flickering inside. She pushed it open. Empty. But the mirror was fogged, and across it, written in shaky letters, We're still here. Anna staggered backward. Her breath hitched. Riley. Riley jolted awake, rushing in. What? Her eyes widened as she saw the words on the mirror. Before either could speak, the bathroom light went out. For a heartbeat, only silence. Then, faintly, from deep inside the walls, the sound of children laughing. They fled that night, packed what little they had, and left the motel before dawn. They didn't speak as they drove down the empty highway, headlights cutting through mist. Finally, Riley said, Where do we go now? Anna stared at the road ahead. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one knows us. Riley nodded slowly. You think they'll follow? Anna hesitated. I think they already are. A small shape flickered in the rearview mirror, for just a second. A child, pale and smiling, sitting in the back seat. Anna blinked, and it was gone. The car rolled on through the fog. Weeks later, in a small coastal town, 2 new names appeared on the rental forms for a cabin by the cliffs. Locals said the women kept to themselves, rarely spoke, and never turned on the lights after dark. Sometimes, on stormy nights, the villagers heard faint voices coming from the cliffs, laughter, whispers, and the sound of someone softly calling a name into the wind. Anna. No one ever saw where the voices came from. But every so often, when lightning struck the horizon, the outline of a ruined building could be seen far across the sea, its windows still glowing faintly red. Final line. Some doors are meant to be opened, not because of what's behind them, but because of what follows you out.